What was the last thing you said to someone before they died? 1. It's okay, camper. Mama and Dada get sick too. You are being very brave. Now get some sleep. I love you. My 2-year and 9-month-old son, whose name was Camper, had the best day of his life on Saturday. 2 birthday parties, one at the beach and one at his cousin's house with great friends and family. The following day he woke up with a headache. He was very smart and well spoken and told us, my wife and I, that his head hurt in the morning. We assumed he was probably a little dehydrated and just not feeling well from all the cake and party action on the previous day. My wife had to see clients that day, so I spent the day with Camper. We watched the movie A Bug's Life, but he was throwing up and napping throughout the day. I just thought he had a general sickness. My brother-in-law was a pediatrician at the time, so he advised us to make sure Camper stayed hydrated with some Pedialyte. We did that and then put him down for bed. That night, which is when I said, it's okay, Camper. Mama and Dada get sick too. You are being very brave. Now get some sleep. Sweet dreams. I love you. And to be honest, I don't really know if I said, I love you. I regularly tell my children that, but for the life of me, I cannot exactly remember. It feels better to think that I did, even though he knew that. Anyway, I told him a few times throughout the day that he was being brave because he didn't cry or complain at all. He never woke up from that final sleep. We ended up taking him, unresponsive, to the trauma room that night. He had an undiagnosed brain tumor that, I guess, just slowly grew as he got older, slow enough that his brain could adjust, and we never once saw any symptoms. Finally, on that day, it ruptured an artery in his brain, and that was the end of his very bright, very full, very short life. 2. I will never forget the last thing I said to my daughter before she died. I was tired after working, so I decided to lay down to watch the evening news. My daughter had just finished eating the dinner I cooked. She had epilepsy and was experiencing frequent grand mal seizures, but every time I would call the paramedics, they would tell me, just don't let her hurt herself. Anyway, I told her to go lay in my bed and watch Friends, which was one of her favorite shows. She called out to me, Mommy, Alice Cooper is on Friends. I told her I was too tired to get up. When I got up to see what she was watching, a few minutes later, I found her dead. To this day, I will always regret not going in there. When she told me that, my brother told me it was probably better that I wasn't there when she had her final seizure, but the doctor swore to me she wouldn't die from her seizures. I asked the coroner what caused her to die, and he told me heart failure due to the extreme nature and frequency of her seizures. My last words to her will be something I will never forget, nor will the last words she spoke to me. I do think of her all the time. I have not been able to bring myself to get rid of most of her things. They are all I have left of her. I even have clippings of her hair. She was my only child. She was my Roxanne. 3. My incredible wife was just days away from dying of brain cancer. As she lay in her hospice bed with her eyes closed, she had been largely non-responsive the previous 9 days, not answering questions posed to her, and when she was awake, just staring into space. It was late, around 10 p.m., and it was just she and I in her room. I asked her, may I kiss you? And she responded with a whisper that I was not expecting. I had missed what she said. I repeated the question, this time with my ear close to her lips. Her response? Of course. I gently kissed her lips, and she kissed me back. While it wasn't the last thing I said to her before she passed away 4 days later, it was the last thing she said to me or anyone else. It was a gift that I shall never forget. 4. In high school, I was friends with a girl who was very toxic, and when I began digging myself out of depression, I cut her out of my life and didn't speak to her for a year. We had a very close relationship while we were friends, but for an entire year, we never spoke a word to each other, not even a hello when we passed each other in the hallways at school. Then one day, she texted me, inviting me to one of her parties she held every year. I didn't want to go, considering I knew nobody who was going and we weren't friends anymore. But I wanted to get away from my parents for a night, so I forced myself to go. The party unexpectedly was very exciting and adventurous, and somehow I ended up being one of the last to leave the party. She and I were in the pool together, striking up a conversation for the first time in a year. While conversing, I realized that she had changed in a year's time and was now a much happier person. It's late. I better get going, I had told her while stepping out of the pool. Ah, really? Okay, well, thanks for coming, she smiled, throwing me a beer, and I surprisingly caught it. Of course, thanks for inviting me. Honestly, I didn't think you would. Jane, I know our friendship ended badly, but you'll always be one of the best friends I've ever had.